Welcome to the CWC podcast with your host, David Selby, Justin Reed, and Andy Horton.
Hello and welcome to the CWC podcast. I'm your host, David Selby, and this is my co-host, Justin Reed. What's up, Justin?
How's it going?
How's the past couple weeks? I know you weren't here last week whenever you nor Andy were here last week, which obviously Andy is absent again. He had to fly to Washington for a fancy video shoot of sorts. But yeah, what's the last couple weeks been like? 'Cause we did Jana last week and didn't have you.
Man, so last week we had budget camp for my work, and I just got finished Monday. So basically, we're just making up the budget for next year and explaining to corporate why we need those numbers and why we need that much money. And then I had to fill out a paper stating what the market's looking like and, what other apartment complexes are doing in the area, if there's any that's been new builds, stuff like that. So it's been pretty stressful, but
Man.
I am back in the wagon.
Yeah. So it just raises a lot of questions for me. So when you go to budget camp, is it like, do you go and like take a pillow and a sleeping bag and stay in dorms, or is that like or is it different? What's the format like?
No. I get to go home and stay in my bed at night. However, we go to a property in Little Rock, and the regional comes in, and all the managers under her, we have managers in Missouri, Mississippi.
Go Missouri.
Yeah. And they all come in to Little Rock, and they stay at a hotel. I stayed at home because Conway is not too far from Little Rock. So, but basically, we go there at that property in Little Rock. We all sit down. We all are working on our own budgets. And then when we have questions or something pops up, then we can ask the regional, hey, what do we need to do? Or, how do you want me to work this? Or, whatever. And so basically we do that. Some vendor brings in lunch, and then we do it for the rest of the day. And then, we would go out to eat for dinner all together. And so I'd get home at 10 o'clock at night, no big deal. And then get back up and have to be back out there at 8 o'clock in the morning. And yeah, it's great.
Yep. Well, that sounds like fun. I have a lot of questions, but I'm just gonna let it fly because obviously we're here to talk about chuckwagon racing. But I mean, budget camp sounds like a lot of fun to me. And if you ever have a bring a friend day, I will gladly join. I think it sounds like a lot of fun, and I'm sure that it'll be mostly Missouri people talking the whole time, anyways, right?
Right.
Okay. Well, anyway, that's exciting, and last week was great. I'm sure you've probably been pretty much caught up by now, but Jana was great, and it was awesome. We definitely missed you and your profanity, and we missed Andy and all of his insight on technology and everything, but we got through it, and safe to say Jana has fully embraced the title of the buckboard queen, and she's running with it. So whoever's going to the next race, I think you may know what I'm talking about a little bit more in depth. But anyway, today's episode. So our special guest today is the Arkansas Chuckwagon Racing Association board member, Houston Blankinship, and he's going to shed some light on how things have been shaping up in the association and the races coming up, especially in the Big Mule division for the 2024 race season. There's one race remaining, and hopefully we'll get to learn a little bit about Houston himself and his involvement in the sport as well. So I'm excited for that, get to know Houston a little bit better. If you haven't already, please subscribe and relive the ride at chuckwagonchannel.com. It's $11 a month, or you can save 25% by paying $99 for the year. You can cancel anytime. We take the heart of these chuckwagon racing events and we put it directly into video form for our dedicated race family. Your support is what will allow us to keep doing what we love and hopefully grow this channel to be a coast-to-coast household name. We need you to support Chuckwagon Channel, the Chuckwagon Channel rather. So sign up today and become part of our racing community. Man, I guess I'm kind of nervous having not had you on the show for so long. It's weird to have somebody right across from me now.
Yeah.
I'll get the jitters out though. All right, if you want to sponsor the show or the Chuckwagon channel, please reach out and we'll send our sponsorship package information your way. It's our goal to work with businesses who share our values and build the sport and the community around Chuckwagon racing. This episode is coming to you on Thursday, September 19th, 2024. However, we are recording a day before on the 18th of September. We try to do this so we can edit out Justin's terrible, dirty potty mouth profanity, of course. Right now, we have the Friday races from the National Championship Chuckwagon Races that we posted on the Chuckwagon channel. And those are straight from the production board that we are operating at the pavilion at the top of the hill on the Bar Off Ranch. So that's kind of neat to literally relive the day. You know, we talk about reliving the ride, but you can literally go and relive it as it happened. So that's kind of cool. You can even go over and watch the pre-show ahead of that race day if you want to get the whole experience of that day. We'll have the Saturday races coming up just as soon as we can get them on there. It may be kind of a weekly drip at this point because we do prepare those things and upload those things outside of our normal day-to-day lives and our normal jobs. So we're always trying to just keep content flowing on the Chuckwagon channel, and we appreciate your patience. Also, other race days from other events in the year, we're getting those up right now. You'll see the first Hurricane Mills race from, I think it was late June. That's posted now. So if you want to go see some game film on that race before we go back to Loretta Lynn's for the fall race, get over there and study up. All right, we're going to jump into the Chuckwagon news and notes. Speaking of Loretta Lynn's, the last two races of the year are sitting right in front of us. 3 races, if you're counting the Branded by Christ race at Dardendale, Arkansas this weekend. So if you're in Arkansas, make sure you look for some good entertainment this weekend and go support a good cause. Get over to Dardendale. Dardanelle?
Dardanelle.
What are you expecting from that waste this weekend, Weston?
Oh, you ready for a wagon weight?
I'm going to drink some more of what's in this cup right here. Help me out.
I don't know that that's going to help you out any. It might make it worse.
If this doesn't sum it up, world's okayest brother, world's okayest podcast host.
Right. Anyways, yeah, so I'm not really sure what to expect. I mean, this would be my first time going, but what I've talked to Jana, I've talked to some of the racers that are going, and it should be an exciting race. Houston went one year and raced at that race, and so it should be an interesting race. It's smaller scale, it's just a laid back event, and it's actually for a fundraiser, of course. And so anytime it's a race, anytime there's a race, it's going to be a good day. That's the way I see it. So, I'm excited to see what's going to happen.
She did mention to me on the last show that they have had up to 35 teams, and that is, to me, that's a really fun race weekend because you're already going to a Chuckwagon race weekend intending to camp and enjoy yourself, just have some fun, relax, and sometimes the wagon race afternoon can get kind of long and drawn out. So really a short race after going to Clinton, a short race prior to going to these races that are going to be on the road out in Tennessee or Kentucky, and then Tennessee rather in October. I could see where the shorter races, that shorter race format could be kind of a fun weekend. And they may race twice in the same day. I can't remember what she said on that. Or no, they race Saturday, Sunday.
They race Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah. Right, because they actually race later, don't they?
No, I think it's typically 1 o'clock.
Okay, well,
yeah,
one of the race days, and it's Saturday. I think that they race at like 4 or something. So double check me on that. But they do. They race a little bit different time for some reason, and yeah, it's one of those. I wish I could make it. I wish I could be there this weekend. I'm not going to be able to do it, but I know you're going to be there, and you're going to have. I know you're going to have a camera out and stuff, so I'm excited to see what you come back with. That'll be, putting on your big boy Chuckwagon channel bridges there. It's going to be all you, man.
It's going to be scary. Yeah.
Well, if you need anything, just if you want to study like how I do it,
Uh-huh.
just go to the Chuckwagon channel, and you can pay $11 a month or $99 a year, and you can see what we do. So no, I know you're going to do great. I'm not worried about you at all. I think it's going to be fun. I'm excited. That's just never been on my radar for some reason. That race has never been on my radar, so I'm excited to hear more about it and from your mouth, how it goes. So
Yeah.
it'll be good. I bet you'll have fun. Are you camping?
No,
No.
it's too close.
How far is that from you?
It's like 20 minutes.
Oh gosh, it's super close. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could drive to the track faster than you'd probably walk to the track.
Probably.
All right. Well, let's get on here. So, well, I know that's going to be a fun race this weekend, so I'm excited to hear more about it from you and from Jana and everybody that goes. And I hope it's a real success. I hope that it builds a little bit. I hope that we can shed some light on that event and we continue to support a good cause and help. That's the I'm going to say it one more time here. It's the Branded by Christ race at Dardanelle, Arkansas. So get down there and check it out. And also coming up, we still have one more association race, the West Kentucky Chuckwagon Races held in Murray, Kentucky, and the Halloween Havoc race at Loretta Lynn's Ranch in Hurricane Mills, Tennessee. These are two awesome races. I got to go to both of them last year. I'm looking forward to going to them again this year. And obviously, one of them is sanctioned, one of them is not. So that can kind of change how things are going. It can change the atmosphere and the vibe just a little bit. But you will be going to Kentucky, West Kentucky, and you'll be firing that starting pistol with it being a sanctioned race. So, and it's their 10th year having this event, so it should be a good one. So, what's kind of your hopes and your expectations for that race?
I'm honestly just hoping for good weather. I mean, for that's just the honest truth. Now, I will say that I'm thankful that it's in October. We'll get a little bit cooler than, we don't not 100 degrees hopefully. But so far they've called in 64 teams. So I mean, it will be a decent race. It's not going to be that 100 type race that you're going to get at Whiskey Ridge or, like the National Championship or anything like that. But I think it'll be a good race. You'll have some of your top competitors there. I know that a couple of the teams that are kind of ranking higher on the associational platform where you're getting to the points and things like that, and you're looking forward to the banquet and what kind of buckle you're going to get. I know there's a couple of teams that are kind of neck and neck, and they're going to go back and forth. So, it'll be interesting to see how those points line up after West Kentucky.
Yeah, absolutely. I think in the next couple weeks here, there's a good chance we will try to bring more people on to talk more about that final race of the year and for the association and kind of get some weigh in on that. I think that there are some good stories, some good narratives going there. And talking to Jana last week, she knows that she's in a comfortable lead, but she does have to go out and race. So I mean, she can't go out there and not post a time. She's going to have to finish her race. And if Brad House has anything to say about it, I'm sure he's going to go out there and try to get. I think it's 50. Is it 15? Is that typically the number one spot?
15 is first place. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's going to go after that 15 and give himself the best possible chance of winning that buckle on the points championship because he's he's right there in second place. So that'll be a fun one to kind of follow for the buckboard division at least. And as we go forward here, we'll be talking about where some of those teams are sitting. So, all right, so kind of transitioning into our main content here, we're going to get Houston on the show and see what he has to say. So. ACWRA Board member over the Big Mules division. He drives the half-breed buckboard team, and he's been known to race across almost all the race divisions. He's a cowboy, and he's a chuckwagon racer. Houston, how are you doing today?
Good, y'all.
We're doing great, man. We're glad to have you on the show. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to hop on here.
Thank y'all.
So tell us where you're at and what are the complications with service where you're at right now?
I come in from work and checking my horses, and I have no signal down here in the river bottoms.
Well, for everybody else that's watching this, you're not going to know because we cut this stuff out, but we just spent like 20 minutes 30 minutes just trying to get service and everything figured out, which that's not, you're not the first person to have that problem where we're trying to get that sorted out. So don't worry about that, man. We're glad to have you here, and we're glad that we can get enough of a connection to talk with you and kind of get some thoughts from you. So our first question is, are you going to the race this weekend?
Yeah.
Okay, so Justin and I, neither of us have ever been to it. Justin's going this weekend. Shed a little bit of light on what that race is and what the expectation is going to it.
Probably one of the best races I go to all year long. Me and Jana has been there since they started. They do a good deal for the Children's Hospital, raise a lot of money, and it's just down to earth people. It's a fun race to go to.
That's awesome. And do they do an auction? Do they do some fundraiser type things like they do when we go to West Kentucky?
Yes, sir. They do a Children's Hospital auction. Have a lot of people build stuff and donate it. They do a lot of cake auctions. Last year, we all the race teams put together and give out T-shirts and hats and raised a lot of money for them.
That's awesome. Do they publicly announce what they make at that event as a proceed?
They do to us, and then we can bring it back to y'all.
Okay. Yeah, we'd love to know how that does. And just off the cuff, do you happen to know what they've done in the past? Just people love to hear stuff like that.
13, 15,000. I
That's
think
awesome.
like the best one they've done.
That's great, man. That's awesome. So glad to hear that. Well, you guys heard it here. Even if you can't make it, if you have a heart for giving, if you have a heart for races and events like that are trying to actively raise money for the needs of children, especially children that have needs, please look to get connected. Message me directly, and I can put you in touch with somebody. Even if that's Houston's phone number, I've got it. So we'll put you in touch with Houston. But that's awesome, man. Glad to hear you're going down there. What are you going to be racing?
Big horse rubber tire, and I'm gonna see if Justin wants to get in a buckboard.
Justin, do you want to get in a buckboard?
I might do that.
Whatever you do, Justin, do not take a camera on the wagon because it is a cursed thing. Do not do it. It will not end well.
I don't know. That'd be pretty cool footage.
Well, secretly, I hope you do take a camera in the wagon just because it'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And so I'd love to know, just kind of off the cuff here, how did you get started with Chuckwagon racing in the very beginning of your career with Chuckwagon racing? And I know that this is like the 13th year doing this race there this weekend. So I know your tenure with Chuckwagon racing goes beyond that.
Yes. The first one we ever went to was, I think, Moons at Texas. We was coming in from a hog dog baying and seen the signs and pulled in there and watched it. The first one we seen down that way. I've been going to Clinton since 99, 2000 in there. And I started racing myself with my family, my dad and my son and my daughter in 2012.
Nice. So you actually went as a spectator to the national championships for a dozen years before you ever raced down there?
Yes.
And help me out here. Did they have rookie races at that point in time when you first started?
Yes, when we all first started, you had to go to 5 ACWRA races a year to be able to qualify just a rookie into Clinton.
Man. So that's changed quite a bit because now you can just go and rookie in. I mean, you still have to make it in, but you had to actually qualify just to go to the qualifier.
Yes.
Man, talk about higher stakes. We got to bring that back.
Well, we all had to make at least 5 of the ACWRA races just to be able to try to rookie in.
Man, and so when you first got started, was the 1836, was that a ACWRA sanctioned race?
The first year he had it, I think it was a ACWRA race. There for a few years it was sanctioned, and then he decided to go unsanctioned, just an outlaw race.
Gotcha. Okay. And then remind us where you live and what you do during the day normally.
I live in Hermitage, Arkansas, and I'm a logger.
Right on, man. Well, we really wanted to kind of get you on this show, especially because of your involvement with the ACWRA and with chuckwagon racing in general, and kind of pick your brain about a couple of things. We've kind of talked about how we want to continue to explore what's going on in the sport of chuckwagon racing outside of the big events, outside of Clinton, outside of Whiskey Ridge, outside of Baker, Spain, and some of those bigger events. And so rather than try to tackle everything all at once, we kind of thought maybe going division by division would be kind of fun. And what better division to start with than Big Mules? We think it's super interesting, and we think it's fun and exciting. So give us your quick analysis or your breakdown of what the Big Mules race requires from the ACWRA. What somebody has to show up expecting to do from a criteria standpoint. How they need to come prepared for a race, and maybe kind of talk about how that may be different from even Clinton, or if it's the same.
It's about the same as Clinton. Any size mule can run in the big mule division, which everybody wants as big as we can get them. That's where me and my family started is big mule division. We all used to run 600 to 650 yards. Now it's moved up to 700 to 750 yards. And that put a lot of pressure on the outriders, because you had another 100 yards now that they can catch, and we didn't then. To show up to run Big Mules, you need the small rubber tire wagon and a pair of Big Mules, and hopefully you got a good outrider and a good horse.
No kidding. And so did you race Big Mules down at Clinton this year?
No, sir. I didn't. Just buckboard.
Just buckboard this year. And kind of talking about the buckboard, I guess I'm going to bounce around here just a little bit. I want to talk more about Big Mules, but everybody's kind of fresh off the National Championship Chuckwagon Races at Clinton, Arkansas. You were racing half breed in the buckboard, and you went down there. You were in the last heat this year, so you were racing with the big dogs and everything. What was that like for you this year?
I've raced with all them guys for a long time, and I mean it's just another race to me. All of them guys are good drivers. So is Jana, the girls. I ain't leaving her out. Jana's a heck of a driver. When I got up there, my ponies were healthy. Thursday, my ponies got sick, and I knew I was probably out of it. But they ought to run this weekend for us anyway.
No kidding. I actually I didn't know that that your ponies were struggling that weekend. Obviously there's a lot going on down there. So I guess my question that I had kind of preloaded for you was, I was going to ask you what maybe you would have done differently this year, going back to Clinton, but it sounds like there was something kind of out of your control there.
Yes, sir. I had some people that moved in there by us, and what I was told is they had brought in some sale barn horses, and they were bad sick, and mine caught it.
Oh man, no kidding. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. That'll probably keep you out of winning a national championship if your ponies are sick.
Yes, sir.
So kind of looking at next year, do you feel like that kind of lights a fire under your butt to get back to that point again, to have another opportunity in the same race, or do you have maybe more passion in a different division?
No, I will still be back in that buckboard division. I plan on winning it.
That's awesome. Well, I love that. What is it about buckboard that you love so much, maybe even versus the mule division, which you are in charge of in the ACWRA? What is it about the buckboards that you love so much?
It's just the ponies get faster, quicker. We're setting up higher in the buckboard. The wagon's wide open. We can see everything around us. It's just a different ride.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, we've gotten the opportunity to kind of explore that division a lot this year, which I'm thankful for, because every time you go deep on one division, there's just so much more. The well goes so deep on every single one of these divisions, and it's been really cool to kind of get all the insight and all that different feedback from different drivers and different race teams this year, and just learn more about that. Obviously, chuck wagon racing at large is this big sport, but it has all of these different divisions that are so different. I mean, like, not even close. Like, there are so many different things, and if you're into equine at all, or if you're into sports at all, you start looking at the different divisions, the different classes of animals, and man, it just gets so interesting, and it just gets more fun, honestly, the more you learn about it.
I mean,
So I wanted to ask you a little bit about the association. So going back to earlier this year at the meeting, you got nominated uh, to join the board. And so, what, for people that don't know anything about the association or the annual banquet that they have, what was that kind of like going to that banquet for you? Were you expecting to be nominated? Did you want to be nominated? Um, when you were nominated, how did that go? So kind of run me back through it play by play earlier in January this year in 2024.
I wasn't expected to be nominated. I have been on the board before. I was vice president for a few years and just got off the board and let everybody else go. We've got a heck of a board members now. Everybody on the board wants to see this, sport grow. Uh, when they nominated me, they asked me would I go ahead and take, the mule division if I got voted in. I told them yes. The big mule division, all your nomination does is, if it's something going wrong in the big mule division, they'll come to you and talk to you about it to try to fix the problem in it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess I kind of, along those lines. So, as far as the association having so much growth in the past couple of years, I guess more directly, what would you say has attributed to the growth of the association so much in the last couple of years?
Good leadership and just the people coming in, they're wanting to see the association grow.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that. It was cool. I had never been to one of those meetings before, and so this was my first year going. And I mean, it was a good turnout. And actually, I would even say that if the 400 plus or whatever it's getting up to shows up for that meeting, they're probably going to have a bigger venue this next year.
We will. I mean, the sport is growing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's exciting, and that's what we want to see all the time, obviously. Um, do you have any thoughts on what maybe is part of what is maybe a big factor right now in the sport growing so much? Do you think it's just all the tracks have kind of gotten their roots in deeper, or do you think that everybody has kind of just grabbed onto it? Do you think it's social media? What do you think's kind of been making the sport grow maybe more in the last couple of years versus in the past?
The word of mouth of people telling, and then the social media, everybody getting to watch the videos, they see what goes on now. And anybody in the equine, sport, they want to come see a good horse race or a mule race or, vice versa, any of that.
Yeah, I totally agree. So as somebody that kind of has been around this stuff for a long time and you work with equine obviously on the regular, um, what would be kind of your message to somebody that sees one of these videos or sees that there are chuck wagon races out there and maybe they should check it out. Maybe it's something they should look at for once.
Join the Chuckwagon channel and watch it, and then find out the event dates and come. I mean, somebody there will help you and show you the right way.
Perfect. Just like we planned it. Thank you very much, Houston. I appreciate that.
Listen, you're gonna have
Cool.
to pay them a advertising fee.
Yeah, well, actually, I need to send a bill to the association for the sponsorship, but that's okay. I do want to get a little bit more of your history here. So you said you kind of started racing back in like 2012. Um, so what is the last, I guess, 12 years been like for you? I mean, I know you mentioned your family getting involved. I know it hasn't, that would have been something that grew over time. So what were the last like 12 years in a nutshell for you and your family?
Watching both of my kids grow up doing it. When I first started, both of my kids, Lamont, he was our cook for Big Mules. He was 5 years old. Kristen, she was 8 years old. She was the driver for a 46-inch mule team, and Lamont cooked for her. And back then, I didn't do nothing but outride. And I have seen a lot of good teams coming through there, and we've had a lot of fun doing it.
That's awesome. Well, I know it's a family, every chuck wagon race that I've been to, I would say is a family event, but I think that it's been cool to see the different teams that are so family oriented with their team as well. I think that's a really neat part of the sport. So I wanted to ask you, with the final sanctioned race of the season coming up at West Kentucky, um, how are the teams sitting right now in the Big Mules standings? Do you kind of have that off the top of your head?
The Outlaws have the first place on it. I think Diamond S has second place. And then after that, I'm not sure. But them two teams has been strong all year.
Yeah, and I know at this point in
Absolutely.
the season, it kind of boils down to those two. And then when we get to the banquet at the end of the year and they deal out that buckle to the championship team, you'll have to help for those that have never been involved with the banquet or the association. Um, does that just deal out a buckle to the top spot, or is there a second and third place, a ribbon, or any kind of award or anything at all?
No, now it's first, second, and third buckle. We give a championship buckle, a runner-up buckle, and a finalist buckle. Used to, we would give a buckle and a vest for first, and then it would go down from there. But yes, first, second, and third all get a prize. They work hard to get there, so they need to get something.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And I know I've seen people that they wear all of those buckles proudly, and so that's a cool thing. I love it. And so I know you kind of mentioned it was Diamond S and the Outlaws sitting pretty right now. Are those two teams close enough to where they're duking it out in this last race, or is there kind of a clear winner there right now with the Outlaws?
I think it'll be a clear winner with the Outlaws. I mean, it's pretty close, but it ain't that close. Wade and Julie, they got a pretty tough team of mules, but I'm not knocking Tracy's mules either. They're a fast team of mules.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Wade Pennington, does their son outride for them on that team?
Yes, JD.
JD. Okay, awesome. And JD is really close with Lamont, right?
Yes, they've been best friends since they were. Well, Wade and them started Chuckwagon racing the same year we did.
That's awesome.
Both of them boys grew up, and that's all they've known is swinging up on the back of a horse.
Yeah. Well,
What's funny is that the mules, the big mules that Tracy uses, came from Wade.
Yes,
Those are
Wade and
Wade's
Julie
mules.
raised them.
Yep. So that's pretty interesting kick to that.
The mules that we've run for years, they come from Wade and Julie.
So
Man.
they kind of have that special sauce or that recipe for some good mules, for some good racing mules.
Success.
Yeah, they've always.
Well, I know we've got West Kentucky coming up, another great race. Following West Kentucky, we move on over to the Halloween race over in Tennessee at the end of October. Is that one that you'll be attending as well?
The Halloween race,
Yes.
we go every year.
And I did ask Jana last week what her costume was going to be. Any idea what you guys might do? Are you going to do the theme with the Halloween race and everything? Are you going to dress up?
Last year, we all dressed up as Indians, and Larry Derrick Hand, him and Miss Lisa, they built a teepee on their wagon, and Lamont rode out behind their wagon, bareback, a little Indian.
Of course he did.
That's
Lamont
pretty
the
cool.
Little Indian. I'm sure he loves
Yeah.
that. Well, for those that don't know, Lamont, he rides bareback all the time. So whether you want to compare that to how they did it in the old days, or how the Native Americans might have rode, or if you just want to say he's pure cowboy, I mean, he is an impressive athlete when it comes to the sport of chuckwagon racing. And it's been fun to watch him for years, because obviously I've been shooting down there at Clinton for years and years. And even before I kind of got so involved in the other races this last year, I've seen him run for a long time. And yeah, you've I guess they'd say you've got yourself a hand there.
Yeah.
So does Lamont work closely with you on a day-to-day basis?
He runs a cutting machine for me every day.
And he does a good job, bad job,
He
okay
does a
job?
dang good job.
So as we kind of hit the end of the season here, if you had one message that you could send people about maybe coming out to one of these last few races of the season, what would that message be?
It's getting into the fall time of the year. It ain't as hot. You will enjoy it. There's something to do there for everybody. And I mean, the way we've always done it, if there's a kid that's involved and wants to ride, come on. I would rather see a kid get out there and win a belt buckle any day than any grown up.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, if there's one thing that we know for sure about going to one of these association events, is that we take our time in making sure that the youth have their time to shine and to get their moment in that spotlight and get that experience and carry on the traditions that have been kind of passed down to them. So I love that about the association. And it's always kind of a neat moment at the very end of the main competition that it's just youth time and nobody's leaving, nobody's going anywhere. We're going to sit there and we're going to let the youth have a minute. And so I always enjoy that a lot. Houston, we appreciate that about what the association does. And we really appreciate you being on the show and just taking a few minutes out of your time. I know it wasn't necessarily easy to get this thing going for you tonight where you're at. So thank you very, very much for being on the show. And we're excited to see you at the next couple races here.
Yes, sir. I enjoyed it. Anytime.
Right on. Well, we hope to see the association just continue to flourish and grow like it's been doing. And we'll see you out on the track, man.
Yes, sir. Tell your co-host there he got a job to do this weekend.
All right. Deal. We'll see you this weekend.
Yes, sir. Y'all have a good night.
You too.
Well, that was good. We heard it from Houston Blankinship, ACWRA board member that's over the division of the Big Mules. Sounds like there's a pretty nice competition heating up between Diamond S and and the Outlaws. It sounds like the Outlaws might have the edge on them, but we might try to bring you some more specific points standings when we get into the next episode or two here, as we continue to move toward that final sanctioned race of the season, which is the first weekend of October. I guess we're just 2 weeks away now, and that'll be a good one to catch. If you don't have anything going on the first weekend of October, I'm telling you, just drive on over to Murray, Kentucky, and get you a room or take your camper, go out there and enjoy this race, because it is a cool race. It's a different track. The people that put it on do a great job. It's one that last year, going to it for the first time, I really enjoyed it. I think that maybe it was kind of warm the first day, but the second day, I think I even took a jacket. It was just that nice that I was just comfortable wearing a jacket. And it's a beautiful ranch there. They do a big auction for the St. Jude's Children's Hospital. They posted over $45,000 in funds raised to just donate. And Darren McChristian and his staff, they do awesome. So highly recommend it. Go out there, take a field trip, do a weekend trip, whatever you have time for. It's 2 days of racing. There are vendors, there's food. You might even come away with something really cool from that auction, and it might surprise you. So check it out. Any final thoughts on the interview with Houston?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a very worthwhile interview. Somebody has that much experience and insight into the world of chuckwagon racing, is always a treat to have. I mean, you're talking about somebody that's been in it at least a spectator since I was like 4 years old. So yeah.
Yeah.
And it's been racing since the year before I graduated high school. So I mean, that's pretty awesome to see somebody that's stuck in it that long. And not only that, but they're generational racers. He has a son that's in racing, daughter that's in racing, his dad was in racing. It's generational racers, and that's what you want to see. You want to see these people that have grown up around it. They're continuing the legacy of their family in the race, and you have a bunch of families that are doing that. And when you have that, you have those close bonds with those people, because I mean, just like he said, JD and Lamont, they grew up together all their life. And so, yeah, they're best friends. And that's what's incredible about this whole event and this whole sport, is that you get those lasting friendships, it's almost like your family. Your family doesn't have to be blood. It can be otherwise. And that's what it is. All these people are family to each other. And that's what's incredible. And it's good to see that insight.
Yeah, and I can say from my personal testimony, I shot the Clinton races. I've shot the Clinton races, the national championships, since 2009, and very much have developed a family with the people that put that race on. And very much have developed really good friendships with a lot of people that go down there every year. And it wasn't until early last year, 2023, early in the year, that I got started with the Chuckwagon channel and started going to more races. And I really am a glorified spectator. I'm not out there racing. I am filming the races and I'm telling the story. But as far as my experience and my importance to the race, I am a spectator. And so I can tell you from even just the spectator standpoint that you will develop relationships. You will develop familiarity with a lot of these race teams. You will it will become a part of your life. And these different weekends throughout the year that these races are happening, they will become permanent spots on your calendar. And it's exciting. It's exciting to me when I get to go back to these races this year, especially these fall races, because I only went to 4 races outside of Clinton last year, in my first year of having the Chuckwagon channel up and going. And these 2 fall races were 2 that I went to. And so I'm more excited than ever to go to those races for the second time and just have my second crack at it, not just because I'm capturing it, but because I enjoyed it. I enjoyed those races so much, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the weather. In contrast to these other races that are fun for so many reasons, but the weather in October, it's my favorite month of the year for just expecting good weather. Knock on wood, you hope it's good. But October, at least you're not getting dealt a 95-degree day, and um, and you might even have it to where it's kind of cool enough or mild enough that you get to break out the jacket at night and the bugs aren't eating you alive, and it's just a different kind of experience for a chuck wagon race. So I recommend it. I recommend it so much, and those are good races, and they're put on really well. I mean, they're good productions, so
Absolutely.
I recommend it.
Yeah.
But we're gonna exit this thing. We're gonna get out of here. But if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe and relive the ride at chuckwagonchannel.com. We post episodes every Thursday on the Chuckwagon channel for our subscribers, and then we post publicly on Fridays on YouTube and YouTube Music. So as always, thank you for supporting what we do, and we will see you out on the track.
Thanks for listening to the CWC podcast.